On to the other big story we are tracking here on In Your Interest, and we're trying to get a grip on, and that is Trump's tariff wars and what it will mean for India. While US President-elect Donald Trump is yet to officially take charge, his tariff wars have begun already. Trump had earlier announced that he would sign an executive order imposing a 25% tariff on all Mexican and Canadian imports, as well as an additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods on the first day of his administration. And now it looks like Trump is planning to target the BRICS bloc of nations, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, including India definitely. Donald Trump has warned BRICS nations against creating an alternative to the dollar. In a recent social media post, Trump threatened a 100% tariff on goods from BRICS nations. As a result, the Indian rupee has hit a record low against the US dollar. It has recovered a little bit today, but still wallowing in the depths. But there are also other factors weighing on the rupee. Bear in mind, another contributing factor is the GDP numbers for the second quarter, which came out were weak. These numbers showed India's growth slowing to 5.4%, the lowest in 7 quarters. So what do Trump's tariff wars in this context mean? We have Shubhamoy Bhattacharjee, author and contributing editor at the Business Standard, now joining us live on the broadcast. For more, Shubhamoy, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us over here. We are yet to get to the official inauguration of the new president of the United States of America, and already the markets are feeling the jitters.
Yeah, markets would feel the jitters, but I'm not that worried about the currency. Let me put it this way. Currency movements are more, fluctuations that happen, the immediate fluctuations have more to do with immediate factors, like oil demand, demand for sudden exports, sudden imports and things and all that. Often those have much more impact, and rightly so. The fact that the president-elect of USA has said that he'll impose 100% tariffs and all that, that really isn't much in terms of saying, because first of all, dollar occupies 90% of the world trade volume. Indian rupee doesn't even figure in the, say, about 1% or so. So for in the Indian rupee, it's not an issue, definitely. It also is not something that, even if you look at as BRICS currency, that's something that is being talked about, and that will be long decades and will take lots of, what I should say, substantive changes in the world economy. So when I mean that the nature of the trade between, say, India, Russia, even say China, Brazil, and other countries will have to take off in a big way. That will take time. Those are long, many years through which those changes will happen. What is of concern to India is that the Indian rupee's internationalization should not get affected, and I don't think that is getting affected. So the drop in the value of the rupee is, I would seriously discount it as anything that because Mr. Trump has said it, so therefore the rupee could be in a free fall. That doesn't happen like that way. About the GDP, which you mentioned, yes, the fact that Indian GDP has come off, the growth rate has come off from a high is a cause for concern. As you know very well, the rupee or any currency is essentially a measure of a country's GDP. So if the GDP is increasing well, if it's doing well, then obviously the currency does well. But by that reckoning, every time the Indian GDP has grown up, in the last quarter, it went up by 7.2%. Did the rupee follow suit? No, it did not. So why isn't so? Because, again, as I said, the movements in the currency reflect different factors which are more long-term. The immediate fluctuations represent short-term demand for respective currencies, which the currencies respond to. So that's where I'll stop. Yes, Krishna.
Right, Shiva, we're having this conversation because these are times that are extremely volatile, and you never know what Trump will do when he, what he says, how much of it he will end up doing. There's so much uncertainty surrounding it. But the question here is, when you have a clear tariff war being declared. And it's not just the BRICS nations. One of the first things he spoke was about the tariffs on Mexico and Canadian products. And then China is obviously, there's going to be a hike in tariffs on Chinese imports as well. But the point here is that what will it mean for Indian exporters? India's export industry, which is already facing enough and more of its challenges, will again find it more difficult.
Well, not so. A tariff definitely creates problems, but of course we'll have to see what sort of tariffs are imposed on Indian products. Trump is more interested that India lowers tariffs on imports from USA. And remember, the big tariff issue, or rather the big trade between India and USA is not of products like a motorcycle or anything colorful as they might look. It is oil and gas. India and USA's biggest trade volume is in oil and gas, and those work on different principles. There's no tariff issue there. So we should be aware of that is where, demand from a country like India, which is rapidly growing, is actually very good, and USA wants to muscle in that market. And USA wasn't in that market till 2017. Trump actually created in his first presidency in pressure on India to buy gas from the USA, and India and USA has rapidly climbed up the charts. So those imports would rise. As far as your question on exporters having problem, devaluation is actually beneficial for a country. When the currency of a country goes down, it helps the exporters. Remember, for a small and medium export units, a cheaper rupee means that per unit they can sell much more abroad. They become much more competitive. So actually it counters against the discomfort that they have in India of lots of other things that we always talk about. But a softer rupee actually would help our exporters. And that's a fundamentally useful thing to happen. A stronger rupee might be good for chest thumping, but it doesn't do anything to help exports, which is why a rupee, if it actually goes down, it will help. If you look at the real effective exchange rate of the rupee against other currencies, which is what we call the real, you will see that Indian's rupee is still overvalued. That's not good for our efforts when we are trying to export to different countries. We want cheaper currency, and that cheaper currency actually helps. To score political points, a better rupee actually helps. Stronger rupee actually helps the upper class. When they go out as tourists, when they would like to exchange the Indian rupee at a better rate against the pound or the dollar. But they are not the big ones. What we are looking at is for the people in the middle income, lower income bracket. And for those entities, when they are exporting, a softer rupee means enormously major possibilities. Yes, Krishna.
Right, Shubhamoy Bhattacharjee there joining us with that perspective, author and contributing editor at the Business Standard. Thank you so much, Shubhamoy, for taking time out to be with us here on this edition of In Your Interest. And with that, we are completely out of time here on the show. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.